recorded live.
Hey everybody, Davenport here on TalkShoe tonight, and the main station is still down. The 24-hour station is still down. I know I told you all we would have it up last week, but we have experienced some more problems. Somebody just came on with me. I thought. Anyway, we have had many problems with the 24-hour station, and I do not want to speculate or be conspiratorial, but it almost seems like the powers that be do not want us on air. They crashed the computer tonight, me coming back on my debut night here. They crashed the computer twice this afternoon, and had it crashed about 15 minutes prior to airtime. We had to get back on again. For those of you out there who don't believe in conspiracies, well, I'm sorry. They do exist, and they are real, and it's something that we all need to take to heart because we experience them every single day. Who is that on with me, Glenn?
Yes.
Hey, Glenn, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say is we are going to be back up. I hate to even tell you all a week, but I'm going to say by the 3rd of next month, and that really hurts me really bad to say it, the 3rd of next month. That is so far out to me. But we will be up by the 3rd of next month. You heard it here, breaking news. I appreciate all of your comments and all of your shares. Glenn, you included. I want to thank all of you for sharing my post, which are all original. I've had a lot of people contact me in the last few days telling me how much they appreciate my original writings. And they've looked around and they just don't see that on our side of the internet. They just don't see people doing that for some reason. There has been speculation that people are just not able to think for themselves as of late. They don't have really anything original or deep to say, so they just post other people's posts. Glenn, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that people are basically scared to post, is what I'm finding out there. They don't want to talk out. They don't want their friends to comment to them, and peer pressure, and you might say the wrong thing, and then everybody's on your case about it. And I think that's what mostly is what the problem is what I'm finding out from your post, my post, that people just don't want to speak out. They're kind of been, for the past several years, they've been put down and told not to talk out, and they've been conditioned to learned helplessness. It's like, don't say this, don't say that, and the people like me and you who just say, well, screw this, we're going to say it anyway, and we're starting to see a lot more of those people coming back.
Yeah, we really are, and you know me probably as well as anyone out there on this digital media, and you know that I say some fairly outrageous things.
Yeah.
And people do respond. And, I've noticed that I have some friends out there like you who respond no matter what I say. And even if it's lewd or crude or perverted or strange or weird, or you might want to put me in jail or take me away, you still respond. And that's powerful, and that's brave, Glenn. You're brave. I tell you, you're brave.
Well,
a lot of people won't even respond for fear that someone is watching. Someone's going to come knocking on their door and take them away.
No, they won't knock on your door. They'll come and bust it down and come right on in. I mean, they don't knock anymore. There's no knocking involved. So if you're afraid of knocking, they don't knock. They just come right in.
Yeah, they just make themselves at home. Yeah, for sure. Well, freedom of speech is what I'm all about, what I believe in, it's what I'm strong about, what I'm passionate about is free speech, even if it hurts somebody. Free speech until it hurts, free speech to a fault. That's what I'm all about, and that's the way that I think this republic should run. This pseudo democracy should be running. And I wish more people were not afraid to speak out. I wish more people were not afraid to post what they think, what they really think, because we're getting lies. We're getting lies. What are we getting? I mean, what are we getting? 95.5% of all of these posts are not even the real story. Half the story, a quarter of the story, none of the story. So what do we have when we clean this thing out? What do we have, Glenn, when we completely clean out all the bullshit? What do we have left? A blank screen?
Pretty much, because nobody is really putting out there the truth. I mean, I try to get the truth out there. I've been press for 22 years, mainly behind the camera, and people are like, well, you don't know anything. It's like, I photograph this stuff. I videotape it. I'm there at events. Just because I wasn't speaking out, I see what's going on. I see the media staging events. I see the police leading most of these protests, and it's, I have it on film, and I started to say, well, somebody really needs to get out there and start telling the truth. So why should it be me? I'm standing right there.
Well, before we go too far deep in on the truth, I have to state that I believe the truth is subjective. Now, don't start on me yet. I've had a lot of people on my ass this week for stating that the truth is subjective based on your limited experience and your limited perspective, capacity, and ability to comprehend your immediate environment. So the truth, that is a word that we all need to talk about. You have the truth, I have the truth, she has the truth, he has the truth, they have the truth. We can't all possess the truth. So therefore, this invalidates the truth. We cannot all have the truth. We can argue that we have the truth, but it invalidates the truth because we can all have a portion of the truth. So therefore, what should we call it? I say call it what it is. It's experience and it's reality based on how we as individuals see it. Is that putting it a little more in perspective?
Yeah, I think your analysis is correct. The truth is like a three-sided sword. There's what you say, what somebody else says, and then what really happened. And we have to judge between the two people that are telling the story which one comes closest to what
we want to believe. What we want to believe.
It's based on your perspective. I rephrase it. The truth is relative to your situation and your knowledge. If you don't know anything, you see it a certain way. If you study, and like me, I'm constantly 24 hours a day on the computer researching, and looking up stuff, and I base my truth on what I know, which everybody should do. And there are times where I say something and then find out later I was totally wrong because all the information I had was wrong on it, and then you go back and relook at it.
But in all due respect, you're basing your truth on other people's truth. In all due respect.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. I mean, basically, it's like I said, it's a perception you perceive, and you're getting input all the time, and you're basing. Most people base their facts on the input, and a lot of people get false input, like, for example, media, CNN. They constantly lie. They don't hardly have any truth in their thing, and everybody pushes it as the truth. So it becomes the truth.
They have an agenda to follow.
Right, so their agenda and a narrative.
Their agenda is the truth. Remember that. Their agenda is the truth. And that's exciting. That's powerful. So they do have the truth. CNN does possess the truth. They possess their truth.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm glad we're having this conversation tonight because I like conversations that make sense and break new ground. And you and I are breaking new ground tonight by defining this elusive word we call the truth?
Well, yeah, technically I found that there is no real truth because everything is a part of the truth. And you got to look at so many different angles to see the actual truth that most people don't do it.
And when you look at quantum physics, there is no truth for sure. When you look down on the quantum level, when you look at the base level, when you look at the atomic level and the subatomic level, and you look at all of the activity that's going on down deep at this subatomic level, and you see the majestic work that's being done on that level, you see the majesty and the awe and the shock and the just pure magic that's going on that level. You realize when you see particles dancing at a distance doing the same dance at 100 million light years away from each other, you realize, hey, we don't know the truth. We just simply don't know the truth.
Well, we only see a small fraction of the universe anyway.
Yeah.
The visible light spectrum, there's like 95% more out there that we know nothing about, and we go, we know all the truth from that 5%, and that 5% might not even contain a quarter of the truth. So it's...
Right. I think we need to eliminate the word truth from the English language. I think that would solve our problems. I asked a lot of people on air before, what if we eliminated the word God from our vocabulary? How would we converse with each other? So now I'm saying, what if we eliminated the word truth? What kind of talk shows would we have, and what kind of communication would we have with each other if we had to put tape over our mouth every time that word truth came out? How interesting would that be?
Oh, it'd be different perspective for sure, because I don't think some people could communicate at all. I mean, without their limited truth, that you take the truth out of it, they're mute. They don't have anything else to back them up.
They have nothing else to say.
Yeah. Their perceived perception is all wrapped up in that little kernel, what they call the truth. And when you blow that kernel away, which I do often, they're speechless, and then they wind up calling you racist, and they resort to ad hominem attacks on you and on your character, and they get further and further from what is called the truth, and it becomes, well, I don't like you because your opinion is different.
You're bringing up a really powerful point, Glenn. As we are having these discussions, those people you mentioned should be able to come into a discussion and talk without getting mad at each other, because they should understand their limited potential and their limited capacity. They should understand just how little they know, and they should approach it from that perspective. We should all approach it from that perspective, and we would be able to climb through these conversations. We would be able to communicate more effectively. It would seem like we were a little stupid. It would seem like we were a little dumb. It would seem like we're one brick short of a full load. We wouldn't seem so powerful anymore with our word truth, but at least we would be all working together towards some kind of truth. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I don't agree with most of the people that I do reports on, and I have difference of opinions with them, but I believe in the cause. So therefore, I'm there for the cause on most of these things to cover, what's going on. We'll take, for example.
I'm just saying, go ahead.
Yeah, like the March Against Monsanto. I was all for, okay, I'm totally against Monsanto. And then I started finding out that the March Against Monsanto was 90% led by Monsanto.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how can you, and then I start questioning the cause, but it's not really the cause, it's the people involved in the cause, because the cause still is, let's get rid of Monsanto. I'm all for that. Let's get rid of GMOs. I'm all for that. But then they were like, well, we need to label them, and then it becomes propaganda and all this other stuff. And it's like, that goes against, you're fighting against the thing that you're fighting against while promoting it. You know,
I'm not a molecular biologist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a chemist by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't like GMO, genetically modified organisms. I don't like GMO. I just don't like it. If someone asked me to explain the intricate details and the analysis behind GMO from a chemical standpoint, from a molecular biology standpoint, I couldn't do it. But I just don't like GMOs. And, you know, hey, is that truth for you? Do I have to explain it to you?
To
No.
some people, yes, you do. I mean, it's unfortunately because you got to explain every minute detail and have every I dotted and every T crossed. And if you miss one, you're a fraud. It's like, no, you have your opinion. I have my opinion. Opinions are like, everybody has one. And when you say mine isn't the truth and yours is, that's kind of like, well, maybe you're totally wrong, and in which case your truth is not what everybody considers the truth. So,
there are actually, in Monsanto's defense, I will say there are actually some good things that Monsanto does. And there are actually some wonderful, wonderful things that Monsanto is doing in our third world countries to help people to eat and to be able to have crops and to be able to have agriculture. So Monsanto is not all bad by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't like the Frankenstein stuff going on. That's me. I just don't like the Frankensteinian stuff going on. I can't imagine eating some genetically modified component. I don't know what it's going to do to the babies. I don't know. I'm not so concerned about me. I'm concerned about the little babies that might be taking this GMO stuff in their baby food or their baby milk. That's what I'm concerned about.
Oh yeah, I'm all for the future generations because I'm already here. I'm looking down the line at my son and his children and then their children, and what am I leaving behind for them? And, we're leaving behind a world full of crap, and it's not, we're not going to go too much further as a human race if we keep it up. So,
Now we know we're not ever going to get rid of GMO. I can promise you that right now, right here on the radio in public. I can tell you right now that we're not going to get rid of multi-trillion-dollar embedded GMO. We can bitch and gripe and moan and rant all day long till the cows come home, and we're not going to get rid of GMOs. Now, that brings us to a point. Why don't we change our focus and move on to something else?
Well, I'm all for holding the people accountable for the wrongdoings.
Yeah.
There's, like you said, Monsanto isn't all bad. Some of the stuff they're doing is brilliant.
It's wonderful.
There was no other way that it can be done but that way.
Right.
And in which case, hey, bravo. But then the other sick agenda that they're pushing kind of outweighs the miracles that they're doing.
Yeah.
And and it's like, well, if you stop the sick agenda and get rid of the wrongdoing, maybe people will start looking in and, hey, some of these GMOs are actually good. We need, drought-resistant crops. Brilliant, but then stop manipulating the weather at the same time. It's like you said in the truth, you go, okay, GMOs, but then there's chemtrails, there's all this other stuff that is added into it. And it becomes a big agenda, and then it's like, well, what the heck's going on? And then when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, it's like, whoa, shoot. So.
Well, chemtrails, weather modification, chemtrails is another story. We know that they started somewhere back when, and they continued on, and they got more advanced and more advanced and more advanced, and they started spraying different types of chemicals for different types of reasons, and we know that some of it has to do with the weather, the climate. Some of it has to do with
depopulation. Some of it has to deal with yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, people, it's like there's at least 100 different things they're doing. And you go, oh, well, we want this one stop, but there's 99 others that you're doing, you know?
Right.
So
Right. Again, some of the things they are doing are good. But the problem is you've got Frankenstein in there. I mean, they can direct a monsoon. They did it on that last big monsoon. They can direct a hurricane. They did it on the last one that missed that island in Haiti in the middle there.
They walked it right through Haiti. I've got the radar.
Yeah, you could see on radar where they did that, and you could see the signatures of the chemtrails the way they did that. But there again, you've got Frankenstein in there doing his work. So it's like you said a while ago about Monsanto. There's good and there's bad and there's ugly and there's indifferent, and we just have to be alert and oriented and vigilant and try to do our best to discern what is good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. And we have to go for the gusto and try to advocate for what is good while dealing with what is bad. And that is a hard thing to do when you've got so many causes, Glenn. You've got umpteen zillion causes. I could mention 10 of them right now that are
and they're all, for every cause you have a contra cause.
Right.
So it's like everything you do, they set up a counterpoint to it to keep you divided so that you never get together on the thing, and everybody's like arguing over little teeny tiny pieces instead of fighting the big cause. And people get myopic and go down into, oh, well, I'll look at this one detail, and this one detail only is the whole thing, and it has nothing to do with the agenda. And they get sidetracked, and people spend their whole lives being sidetracked by this little thing instead of working for the cause, working for the cure. Take care of the problem, not the little itty-bitty details, because we start taking care of the problem, the little bitty details will disappear. And,
one cause that I'm really concerned about is the oceans. I'm so concerned about the oceans. Now, most people look at the oceans and they say, oh, they're so big and they're so vast, you don't have to ever worry about the oceans being polluted. You don't ever have to worry because they're so deep and they're so vast, and they're all around the world, and water covers the world, and water can filter itself out, and blah, 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 blah. That is simply bullshit. That is simply not true. We are making a very definite impact on the oceans in a negative way. We are killing our plant life in the oceans. We're killing our marine life in the oceans. We're polluting our oceans. And I think something needs to be done about it now. And I mean something hard. Like I said earlier on my Facebook page, these ships need to be fined millions of dollars for dumping their shit in the ocean.
Oh, yeah. And, clean up all the stuff. That money
needs to go directly for cleanup. That money, those fines need to go directly for cleanup and future technology.
Right. Oh, I definitely agree. I think the last estimate I saw was like almost 90% of the oceans are poisoned now. And
yes, they are.
They're like, we're approaching the extinction level event. It's and one of the last events was like 100% of the ocean died. And, it can happen. And once the ocean dies, we're gone. We're killing off bees and everything else. It's like we're killing all the life-giving things on this planet and then going, oh, we're so good. The only thing we're doing is killing ourselves.
And then we've got Reactor 1 and Reactor 2 there in Fukushima. That is the worst natural disaster or human disaster, rather, in the history of mankind. Besides the Ice Age, when that hit, that was pretty bad, pretty drastic. But I'll tell you what, that's polluting the ocean and that's polluting the air. And if that Reactor 2 should blow and it should become catastrophic, we're going to have to evacuate all of North America. People just don't get it. People just don't realize how dangerous this situation is. the only way that we could even stop or slow that down would be to dump hundreds of millions of tons of concrete out of a 767 jet, crash it into the damn thing, crash at least 25 767s directly into reactor 2, and remote control those things right down with wet concrete, and then hope to God it dried and hope to God it sealed up reactor 2. People go, you're crazy. You're crazy, Kiler. No, I'm not crazy. That's the only way to solve this problem.
Yeah, I had the same idea. That they need to put them under concrete, make a mountain of concrete out of them, and bury them. That's the only thing that'll get rid of them. Or it won't get rid of it; it'll contain it.
Right.
Because you can't get rid of this stuff for millions of years, and a half-life is like a million years or something. So it's like, you bury it. You just get rid of it, bury it, and go, well, that was a mistake, and don't ever do it again. But sure enough,
it's melting the robots they send in there. It's already melted several robots.
They said the radiation level it'll kill you in 2 minutes. That's a lot of radiation. It'll kill you dead in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And the robot, it's a robot graveyard. Every robot only lasts 5 to 10 minutes in there, and they die, and then they send in another one, it dies, and send in another one, and it dies. And it's like, nah, pour concrete on it and bury it. But then these stupid people will build another reactor on top of the concrete and start again. So
of course.
Because we don't learn. We don't. Human race is.
We've got 27 reactors leaking in the United States right now, major.
And most of them are on fault lines too.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's put them right on a fault line that's active, and nothing can happen. Oh, they're leaking tritium and radium and all this other stuff. Don't worry about it.
And you girls and boys can Google all of this yourself that Glenn and I are talking about. We're not going to sit here tonight and give you all the details of all of this. You can Google it. It's all there. I mean, I wouldn't even open my mouth if it wasn't already on Google and the facts weren't already presented by scientists a whole lot smarter than I am. And so, just Google all of the things that we're talking about, and you'll see them. And you know this. You already know this. That's why you're saying, well, Glenn and Kiler are either completely stupid or they have Google. Well, guess what? We have Google. So, yeah. And I'm thankful for Google. Even though Google has become God, even though Google has become Frankenstein, even though Google is owned and operated by the people like Bill Gates and George Soros and all of those that we hate so much, and it's been taken over. It's the largest spy organization operation in the history of mankind, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. Google is God. Google is Frankenstein. People don't understand that Google is more powerful than the FBI, the NSA, the COD, the CIA, the whatever you want a 3-letter agency say, more powerful than all of the above. Every single one of them, it outstrips. Google does. How does that make you feel?
And they changed the name to something nicer. They call it Alphabet now. So it's more friendly. It's Alphabet, not Google. But it's still the same spy grid.
It's the most powerful, dangerous organization in the world. And it's right up there with NASA. People think NASA send spaceships to orbit, and no, that's not what NASA's all about, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to tell you, but that's a diversion. They're not about satellites and rocket ships. They're
the Fourth Reich.
Yeah, they're all about spying with Google. They're right in bed with Google. They're so snugly in bed with Google, their legs are wrapped around each other. It's amazing how close Google is with NASA. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. They've got an office there at NASA.
Yep.
As a matter of fact.
Yeah, and the CIA has people in every major news organization around the world. So, yeah. All the information, when I went to speak to the FBI about what was going on with FedBook, and they were looking at me and they go, I said, yeah, I used those spy programs. And they're, oh, yeah, which ones? I said, you know the ones you use, Google. And they looked at me like I was crazy. It was like, oh, we thought you had something good. I said, yeah, I got your spy program, Google. It's great. You know.
The last time I took a case to the FBI, they didn't take it, and
they have no sense of humor.
I haven't dealt.
I deal with them a lot of time. They have no sense of humor.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. And believe it or not, they're overeducated idiots. Daddy used to call them educated idiots. Some of them are just not very. They have no common sense whatsoever.
No, they don't. You know, I don't really want to get into them too much from being, you know, in that community. But yeah, I definitely agree. They don't have any sense of humor, and they have no common sense either. You know, like you said, is, you know, they can't think outside of the box. I never knew there was a box, you know, so I wasn't privy to that. And then I found out there was a box, and it was like, well, what are we going to do about this?
They're pretty much by the book.
Yeah, but it's only their book that they wrote. So
it's only their book that they wrote, and they can change the book as they want to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. Well, we have been doing a lot of writing, and people have been doing a lot of PMing and emailing back to me. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our mental health programs in the United States are in grave trouble. So those advocates out there, keep doing what you're doing, because you know what you're doing. Peer support, you know what you're doing. Congress doesn't know what it's doing. The House doesn't know what it's doing. But it's going to be up to you to educate them on what's going on at the local level mental health programs in the United States. You know, we either infect each other or we affect each other, and I hope we're affecting each other on this radio program, because our lives are literally in each other's hands, ladies and gentlemen, whether you believe that or not. You know, we are not hunter-gatherers anymore. I don't know if you all realize how this dyad works. This dyad really works. When you have 20 people in a village, they all get along. When you have 30 people in a village, they all get along. If they have a problem, one murders one, the other one murders the other murders the other until they're all gone. But if you have a large population like we do, people do not get along. People are strangers. People are divided. People hate each other. Literally. You cannot contain a population like we have. It's completely out of control. The sociologists do not even understand it, or nor will they even try to understand it anymore. It's impossible to understand what happens when you reach a population that we have. There's no way to know what people are going to do. Too many people running in too many different directions, doing too many different things with limited resources. Most people are just trying to work to make the rent, to pay the electric bill, the gas bill, the water bill, the insurance on the car, trying to pay child support, trying to take care of their kids and keep them in daycare. And people don't have the time that I do to spend on the computer and to research and study. So it kind of makes me and people like Glenn look like oddballs or weirdos, because we have all of this information coming out. And people just are like, whoa, dude, where did that come from? You know, and it is difficult to be smart. It is difficult to be in the know. It is difficult to have information that other people do not have. And it's like you have to ease it on people. You have to ease it on them, or they get kind of freaky and skitsy on you. I'm sure, Glenn, you've ran into that, where you have to kind of back off a little bit and take it easy going in.
Yeah, most of the time, because I'll put stuff out there and people, whoa, you come out of left field with that stuff. It's a conspiracy theory. Oh, you don't know anything. It isn't that way. And then you go, okay, let's take a look at what I have. No, I don't want to listen to you, because, you know, it goes against what I want to listen to. And, you know, cognitive dissonance sets in. And there are those people that I just look at and you're never going to reach them. You walk away. Don't even bother with them. Just walk away because you're never going to reach them. They only understand on their level of understanding, which is usually very low, and you're never going to reach them. But there are other ones that you plant the seed in their brain, and they might go, oh, I don't want to listen to that right now, but then later they come back and they go, well, wait a minute, let me take a look at this. Oh, he has this thing from the FBI. Well, maybe I can look at it, and, it's FBI, so I can trust the FBI, and they'll go and look, and then they'll start doing their own research, and those are the people I try to reach. The people that really want to, they might at first tell you no, and fight you, and then they go off, and then later on they start reading, and it starts creeping up. It's like, like a murder mystery. It's like, well, what the hell happened? Well, let me go take a look at this again, and then they start looking and reading, and some of my haters are my best readers. I need new haters because a lot of my haters became my best readers. So, I'm running out of haters.
I have haters that will not leave me. They
Yeah.
will not leave
Well,
me.
I have those too, but
They can't wait to hear what comes out of my mouth again tomorrow morning.
Well, there's those ones that just live to hate people, and I love them too. So, I'm kind of weird.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am sitting here smoking on my vape, and I want to tell you something right now. It has saved my life as far as having to go outside and smoke during the shows and being out of range of my headset. I want to give Cigarettes for Less. We came through Eugene, Oregon here a while back, and I picked up a vape kit for me to do while I'm on air, so I won't have to smoke in here and bug all the producers. I'm smoking the Marks 10 XL. I recommend the Marks 10 XL to all of you who want to get a good smoke, and it's a neat little rig, and everybody at Cigarettes for Less is just unbelievable. We love those folks over there. They are really good to you, and they really do care about you when you go in the store, and that makes a big difference. And, I'm off my Xanax now. I wanted to tell everyone on air, I told you in Facebook, I'm off the Xanax. I went off by myself. It took me a while. I titrated down, and my doctor was very, very, very proud of me for titrating down. I did not tell the doctors what I was doing. Some of you have asked me why I went off the Xanax. Well, it's because the insurance company was going to stop paying for it. I was going to walk in there one day, and they were going to say, I'm sorry, but you have a co-charge, and it is $450. So I decided to go off the Xanax before that happened, and they put me on Klonopin, which I'm enjoying the hell out of. The Klonopin has really made a difference in my life. It is also a benzodiazepine, but it works at a different level, works in a different way with the human brain, but it's stopping my panic attacks. All of you know I have major, major PTSD from hell from all of my homicide, dead body pickup, paramedic EMT days. It has calmed me down, keeping me cool, allowing me to sleep at night. So I'm went off of one benzo onto another benzo, but at least that benzo can be paid for, and I don't have to worry about walking in and them telling me that I have to come up with a copayment. So between my vape and my Klonopin, I'm doing okay. I do have memory loss. I did go to have my magnetic resonant imaging done, and my brain is still there. And I do have a disease. I can't tell you what it is because it's too long. The name is just too long and too hard to pronounce, but I have some white matter going on throughout my brain, some ischemia, and my memory has been affected. My short-term memory has been affected. Most of the time, I couldn't tell you what happened yesterday. How many of you can tell you what happened yesterday? I've talked to some friends that said, hell, I can't even remember what the hell happened yesterday. But I can't remember what happened yesterday. Can't remember what happened a couple of days ago. If I was going to be hung, I couldn't tell you what happened a couple of days ago. So I've lost some of my short-term memory. My in-the-moment memory is perfect. I'm very sharp in the moment. So I don't know how this is going to affect me on air. I'm a little worried, but unless Glenn starts telling me something in PM that I'm doing wrong, then I'll be okay. I think I'll make it on air. I also wanted to say, get off the USSR bullshit train,
Yes.
folks. Get off
Yes.
the USSR bullshit train. Stop. Save yourself. It's a diversion. My God.
It's a red herring.
My Facebook page is saturated with this shit. And I'm like, can't you people get a life? Go down to do something locally. Get a garden.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's worse than McCarthyism back in the day. It was, it's like, well, Trump breathes up. He's a Russian spy. And it's like, what the hell? People, come on. They said there is no Russian hacking. There is no, CNN said this and that. And people, you're Russian. You're a Saudi agent. I've been called a Saudi agent. I've been called a Russian agent. I wish these people would pay me. I get paid nothing, and people, they're supporting you. I wish they would. I need a paycheck. I haven't had a paycheck in 28 years.
Look. Who gives a rat's ass if Putin and Trump are dancing together? I do not give a rat's ass.
I thought that's what the president was supposed to do.
Yes.
He's supposed to meet with world leaders. He's supposed to.
The Cold War is over.
Yeah, exactly.
The Cold War is done. The wall is down.
I mean, I'm more worried about China when they're at Davos pushing for global government and cashless society. But you mentioned China, and people, no, it's the Russians. It's like there's no evidence of Russia doing anything. There's plenty of evidence of China.
People see China as a good friend. They don't see the politics involved.
I don't. You watch Transformers, the movie. I think it was number 4, where China's the good guy. It's like we have to go to China to save us. Why? What happened to America? Well, they've been taken over by China. Pretty much. China's buying up our infrastructure, buying up Hollywood. And it's like, don't mention China because Alex Jones mentions China and forget it. It's like, come on, people.
You hear a little bit about Comey. You hear a little bit about Loretta Lynch. You hear a little bit about Soros is popping his head up here and there. Bill Gates is popping his head up with Soros. Then you've got the coup going on with the military against Trump. And then you hear a little bit about, Pence, and you hear a little bit about just a little bit about this and a little bit about that. But if you'll notice, there's not a lot of anything going on right now. Everything's kind of quiet.
Everything died except for their made-up scandals that they're trying to push and the red herrings that they're chasing to get everybody's got to fight against each other. And it's like there's nothing going on, really. I'm on a standstill right now because it's like I'm waiting for something to happen. All the reps drills that were going on have stopped almost across the board. You don't hear about them anymore. What happened to all the false flags that were going on? The world was going to hell and everything was going crazy, and then Trump gets in and it's like, well, what happened to everything? Where'd all these mass shootings every day?
I don't know if you heard the last congressional speech that Trump gave, but it was amazing. It was wonderful. It was.
I heard parts of it. I didn't. I have other things.
The Democrats were just stone cold. It looked like they were at a funeral. I mean, they were just stone cold.
They're just sitting there and pouting and having their pout in.
He was looking right at him, pointing his finger right at him. We have to work together. We need to work together. We can work together. We can, and they were just, they were pissed off. They were so pissed off.
I mean, we worked with them for 8 years with One Big Gas Mistake America, and and then you turn around and, well, we can't do the same thing that you do. It's like, hey, you people, I think I think that we need to clean out Congress. Just start at the top and erase them all and reset.
Well, that ain't going to happen. I agree.
I know it ain't going to happen.
I'd
but
love to see it.
That's what needs to happen. We need to get rid of Pelosi. I don't even think she knows what planet she's on.
She's sick. She's so sick.
It was like she still thinks Bush is the president. So
I know.
And then Russia invaded Korea, and I learned all this. I learned all this stuff on CNN that I never knew happened. Because all this stuff, and it's like, where do these people live? And whatever they're smoking, I don't want any of it.
I have compassion for her, though, and I feel for her, even though you know what I mean?
I have pity for all of them, but I still got to do my job and point out there when all this stuff is going on and go, hey.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as she's been doing what she's doing, and to have the Alzheimer's coming on, someone just needs to take the keys from her hands.
Yeah.
So it's time to go home. It's time to go home, Nancy. It's time to go home.
Put her in a little hospital by herself and let her be a congressman in the hospital room. Because, my God, some of these people, you go, where did they wake up?
Yeah, I know.
And they're running the country. That's what the problem is these people that everybody keeps voting in are running the country. And why is it all messed up? Well, there's a good reason right there. She doesn't even know what planet she's on. And she's the leader. We're following her, and she doesn't know where she's at.
I work with so many bureaucrats and so many politicians at the local level, and I can tell you that they're just not that bright. I mean, they're not that bright at all, and it really worries me when I go in there like you would go in there, and I talk to them, and I have my moment behind the podium, and they're looking at me like I'm from another planet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't get it. They just don't get it. They don't know what's really going on in the world at all. At all. They live in a glass house, Glenn.
Yeah, they live in a bubble.
In a bubble. And it's impossible to get anything across to them.
Oh, I know. I deal with the local ones around here, and they can't tell you what's happening in the city. It's like, how can you be in charge of the city when you know nothing about the city?
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on your front doorstep. You're so worried about Russia and all this other stuff, but you're stepping over people that are dying on your doorstep. And maybe if the government started getting back to being local and stop worrying about being global, we might see some improvements in the situation, but it's not going to happen because they're all pushing for a one world, oh, we're going to be one world. Yeah, I don't want that world. Sorry. I've been fighting against it since 87.
Well,
I do not want a one world.
We are slipping into the global governance, and that's something that we're just all going to have to get very used to because it's coming and it's here. So,
if it came in as a constitutional republic, I wouldn't mind so much. But when it comes in as a socialist oligarchy, technocracy, no, I am totally against that.
Well, it's already a technocracy, and of course we know the major corporations run the world, and
corpocracy, technology.
The lobbyists run Washington, control Washington, along with Wall Street and the Federal Reserve, and the Trilateral Commission, and the Commission on Foreign Relations, Council on Foreign Relations. We know who the New World Order is, and we kind of know how they work. They have a long-term strategy. They plan 100 years ahead, and this gives them a lot of, a one-upmanship, if you will. They plan 100 years ahead. Most people don't even plan a day ahead, the Commonwealth. So you can see why they're winning. They have these strategies, and they have these strategy meetings, and they mean business, and they're billionaires, and they control the world, folks. Doomsday, 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 Kyler, you're preaching doomsday. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm telling you this is a truth. If you want to talk about truth, this is a truth. You can look out there, you can spend a week on Google, and you'll come back and say, Kyler, oh my God, you're right. I have no argument with you. They have won the day. They have won the day. We are just going to have to fall into place in the matrix and do as we are told. And some of you will go out fighting and some of you won't. So, that's just the way it is. And this is the kind of talk show I like to have where we say, what is what? Who is who? Where is where? When is when? There's not going to be any commoners winning this battle. You can forget that. You might win some small strategic battles locally. You might win a couple of small strategic battles in the House. You might win a couple of small strategic battles at your state house like we do here. But on the whole, the NWO has you by the balls. Yep. And that's the end of the story. The NWO has you by the balls. If I went over, which I will on my next show, if I went over some of the things and named them, which I can and I will on the next show, it will floor you. It will literally floor you. You will be on the floor crying when I tell you what the NWO has done already that you're not even aware of. You're not even aware of it. It doesn't come into your vocabulary. It's not a part of your day. Things that are going on behind the scenes in the dark state. So don't ever tell me, people are asking me, is it the apocalypse? Is it the apocalypse? No, it's not the apocalypse. There is no apocalypse. There won't be any apocalypse. My God, this thing's going to go on for eons and eons and eons. And yes, we are $200 trillion in debt. They say 20 trillion. Oh, we're not sure. It could be less. It could be more. No, it is more. It is more like $250 trillion in debt, folks. You heard it here on Kiler Davenport Live. So, try to get those numbers wrapped around your head. It takes 100,000 years to count to 1 trillion second by second. Do the math yourself. So I want you to understand $1 trillion is a lot of money, people. And if you think 250 trillion is ever going to be paid back, you're full of shit as a Christmas turkey.
Pretty much. Who do we owe it to? Decepticons? I mean,
right.
God. If we owe it all to the Rothschilds, I mean, that's pretty much where it goes, right to the Rothschilds. Yeah. Delete them. Maybe if we start hitting the agenda that they've got planned and stop worrying about all these little things, they're pushing Agenda 21, which they're calling now 2020, 2030, 2045, 2050, and by 2050 we're living in Hunger Games. I mean,
I know what'll get me in trouble. I know what'll get me in a lot of trouble tonight. I had a vision. Oh boy, here we go. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get cut off. I had a vision, science fiction movie where a band of hackers and a band of special ops, a band of black ops, a band of special forces, a band of Green Beret got together and formed an elite task force and went after key components, key targets in the system of the New World Order and started taking them out one by one by one by one and started making demands for change toward a republic and perfect peace and liberty and freedom for all. And this elite team could not be stopped. There were too many of them coming from too many different directions around the world. And they had been planning to get together over the last 20 years. They'd been forming this organization. Now, whether that's ever going to happen or not, I don't know.
Well, on my part, I've been trying since '87 to do that. I mean, I've been putting out information, trying to make people aware, waking people up, showing them, hey, this is what's going on. And, I think if more and more people just said, fuck it, and did it, we could almost accomplish it. But it is going to take a lot of people doing it, like you said.
What's going to get me shut down is I'm talking about an elite group of commandos that are doing assassinations.
Wet works, yeah.
Yes. I'm very surprised. I'm very, very, very surprised this hasn't happened yet. I'm very surprised.
I am too. I mean, it's. I don't know what to say about that because I've had the same idea myself, and
you would think Anonymous would have some adjunct group that would be doing this.
Well, I'm in two minds with Anonymous because some of them are good, and some of them are asshats, and it's the mostly asshat ones that are the bulk of Anonymous. But there is that core group that I have Anonymous friends and friends that are in Anonymous.
Well, let's go back to that original core group of Anonymous that we all know and love back when.
Yeah.
That's the group I'm talking about.
Yeah, if they would get off their butts and do something, but a lot of them have been rounded up and thrown in jail and
yes,
other things like that because, the good guys always get taken out first. So the ones that are actually doing stuff always get taken out first, and then you're left with the wannabes and the people that are actually trying to do it but don't have all the influence. And that's where they get it. They take out all the leaders, and then you got a bunch of Indians running around with no chiefs, and it kind of goes into disarray. And then those Indians form factions and start doing other, and it's like, it works very good at what they do.
We may get taken off the air for saying what I said tonight, but I'll wait and see. I want to give a shout out to Howard Graber. Thank you, Howard, for sending me that brain booster. I want to give the name of it right now. For all of you who really want some brain booster, I mean, this stuff will make you, honestly, I'm not just saying this. This stuff will turn you into Einstein in 2 months. It's $19.99, and it's coconut oil, organic, extra virgin, 54-ounce jar, and it is unbelievable. You can get it by going to Carrington Farms. Carrington Farms, healthy foods and healthy soul. Carrington Farms. And you can look up coconut oil. This stuff is unbelievable. So I'm going to just give you that. It's also non-GMO project certified. And order 6 or more and get 10% off. But $19.99 is an unbelievable price for this type of product. And it has helped several friends of mine. Now that I'm starting to talk about it, people are starting to tell me they're also on it. I want to give a shout out to Lee's Michael, Thomas Ufert, who is my co-host on Wednesday night. Actually, I'm his co-host on Wednesday night on Tom's Take. I want to say hi to Dwayne Brothel and Sinette Musilov. Glenn Sutphin is on with me tonight. Patricia Dow, David Johnson, Andrew Meyer, Brandon Bookman, David Schubert, Pam McDonald, Jim Preston, Linda Durbin. I want to give a shout out to a lot of folks who have been behind us. Gary Jacobs, Jeff Morgan, a lot of folks. Francis Lynch Wood, Stefano Catalino, Patrick Monroe, Jamarcus Russell. All of you have just been unbelievable in sharing my post, and I go over to your page and I start sharing your stuff. I work all week for you and send you friends or whatever you want. You know, folks, this is what it's all about, and I know Glenn will agree with me. We have to break down into small bands like a science fiction movie where we're in the cave working together. This is what we have to do. This is what we have to do. It's not should do or would do. We have to do this in order to succeed. We have to put a small band of people together and work together. Because if you're just out there posting into the void, you're wasting your time. You're just wasting your time. You get up every morning and you start posting and posting and posting and posting and posting. You're just wasting your time. You might as well go do something else or get a life. But when you're posting with 25 other people, when you're working within that 25 scenario, you feel like you're doing something great because all of that information is going back to the radio. I'm reading your information on the radio. I'm taking your information on the radio. I'm taking your post to the radio, your stories to the radio. That's what it's all about, folks. Now you have a reason to get up over coffee. And this goes for Glenn, too. This goes for all of you. Now you have a real reason, even if you're Glenn and you already have a press organization, now you've got another press organization working with you. And you've got a radio personality that's out there where you could come on the air and be a co-host and sing it to the world. So I'm going to keep preaching this and preaching this and preaching this. 25 people. I think we've got that 25, Glenn. I think we've got them right here in front of me. I've just mentioned a few of them.
Oh yeah, I've been working, the past couple of years doing about the same thing, and then I found you, and I had my ex co-host. I won't get into that too much right now because it's ongoing litigation and stuff like that. But everybody wants to be the king dog, and I'm just out here going, I just want the information out there. Get the information out there, let the people decide for themselves, and little units. 25 people here, 25 people there, around, get a community going different places, and different organizations doing the same thing is what's going to win it. Not a big, massive amount of people, but little individuals doing a lot is what's going to win this thing.
Like the tribe we talked about earlier. The band, the small band.
Yeah, a small band, a group of individuals with the same purpose in mind. They might not have the same opinions, and they might not like each other. I can get along with I get along with everybody until they start attacking me. Because I support people I don't like, and I like people I don't support. So it's that way. But when the message goes out, I'm all behind the message, and the message is, we're in trouble, start fighting. That's the message.
You and I have basically given the message tonight. We've basically told people what we think in such a short period of time. People kind of know us. We just want to get the word out. We just want to wake people up to the point where they start to understand more than they understand now.
Well, my thing is, if you are awake, you are the resistance. If you're awake and you can see all this stuff, you're the resistance. Get out there and do something. Even if it's just tell your friends and they make fun of you. I don't care. Let them make fun of you. They make fun of you anyway, So you may as well do the best you can and let them judge anyway. They're going to judge you.
Glenn's talking about the scenario where exponential numbers work. If you tell enough people and enough people tell enough people and enough people tell enough people, eventually the pendulum will swing.
Yeah, it's got to.
Yeah.
We got to get over that fulcrum first, but we're starting to get towards the fulcrum, but we're not there yet. I've noticed over the past couple of years that the word is getting out there. The choir is getting bigger. So everybody keeps preaching to the choir. Keep preaching. People are listening, even if it's just your small followers. But then more people are coming in because they go, well, what's going on over here? And they start looking into it and getting involved. And
I'll tell you,
even the ones that attack you are getting involved. I use attacks all the time. People, why do you post all these memes that they make about you? Because I think they're funny.
Yeah.
and the person took the time to do this stuff to make fun of me, I'm going to show their work. I don't care. Yeah, I really care less about what people think about me, and it's what they think about the information I'm putting out. And a lot of people won't attack the information I'm putting out because they can't, so they attack me. So I understand that, and you got to have a thick skin in this
Well,
game.
why am I not being attacked this week?
They don't like you anymore.
That's got to be it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're putting out the same stuff you normally put out. I'm just going through a phase right now where I seem to be losing all my friends because they're all turning against me, and it's like, all right, cool. I don't care.
You see what kind of kick I'm on.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been reading. Just my thoughts. My thoughts as they.
Well, that's what I put out. I mean, I put out my thoughts, and people. Oh, you had a breakdown the other day. Yeah, I did. I have PTSD. I had 101 fever, and then my blood pressure was 300/200. And now, if anybody can think straight and be coherent through all that, they're a better person than I am. Yeah, I had a mental break. A big deal. I also had brain damage, from the car accident
me too.
28 years ago.
Yeah.
And, so it's like, hey, give me a break. I'm making coherent sentences, and you're understanding what I'm saying. That's the whole problem with me. That's the whole nutshell right there. You got what I was saying, even though it's kind of crazy. And was it stupid? Yes. Did it work? Yes. Then was it stupid? No. If it got the job done, it wasn't stupid. So
I got a lot of PMs back. I got a lot of PMs back when I started talking about my morgue experiences and my embalming experiences and my homicide experiences and my paramedic experiences, and people were quiet for a whole day, and then they came back the next day and said, "Damn, Kiler, you've really seen it all, haven't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've pretty much seen enough,
Might not have seen it all, but I've seen enough. So,
And this is why I'm a talk show host, is because I have all that in me, and it's coming out over the airwaves. I've brought all of it out over the airwaves, and people don't realize how massive this organization is. We're like 26 platforms, and I've named them all on several shows. We're on 26 platforms, and I have articles all over the world. I'm required reading in some high schools. I'm a poet, I'm an artist, I'm a musician. You can Google me and find my songs on CD, my books. I'm a publisher. I have 1 book out and 2 books on the way. We've had this station now for 7 years. We've done over 1,500 wonderful shows. And I'll tell you, we have been a revolving door for people wanting to learn broadcasting. I mean to tell you right now, we have trained so many people. We've brought so many people in that we thought were going to stay and left for their own station, their own show. I'm used to that now. It used to piss me off. It used to make me so mad I could bite nails. But now I'm used to people coming in and getting their feet wet and then moving on to their own stations. That just means we're a launching pad for new broadcasters. That's what we are.
That's the way you got to look at it. You're bringing up new talent and putting it out there, and they're doing their own thing and growing. And then they get 25 people, and
it would be nice if they would tell me. It would be nice if they would tell me about it.
Yeah, show some of the welfare, man. Yeah,
and not just be an asshole about it. And a lot of people.
I'm finding out that a lot of people, like my ex-co-host, that you kiss people get their asses kissed and they get promised stuff, and then they do this and that and the other, and then they go off and screw their friends over, and then they get screwed over, and then, well, you done screwed all your friends over, so what are you going to do? Well, and you're left all alone, and that causes resentment and everything else. And I thank you for having me on. I love talking on the radio and getting the word out there about what's going on and telling people what's been going on in my life. I mean, I've got a pretty interesting checkered past myself with all the police coming after me and all the other stuff that's happened in my life. It's like, my God, people, you can't, this is impossible. Nobody can be like that. It happens to me every day. I don't open up my front door and I can cover the news in my front yard. I just did the other day. So it's like, everybody can do what I'm doing. If you got a phone and you got a computer and you got the internet, you got your own broadcast. I mean, it's that easy.
I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm nothing special. I'm doing,
Citizen journalism, guerrilla journalism.
It's just that I happen to carry a press pass and am legit. So, but even if I wasn't, I'd still be doing the same thing, doing what I'm doing, and getting the word out there.
We're a licensed station, so I carry a press pass, too, that's legitimate through our license. And it does, you really have to be careful with these press passes. I've had people wanting me to send them a press pass they'll pay me $10 for it. Oh, yeah, sure. I'm going to let you have a press pass driving around in the car drunk and smoking a joint, and it's all going to come back.
And smearing my name, yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Exactly. I mean, people don't understand that, and it's like, people, it's like, no, you got to pay your dues. I've been press, like I said, 22 years pretty much since 94, 95. Yeah. So, and real quick, I want to give a shout out if I can.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to give a shout out to my wife. We had our anniversary yesterday, 22 years married, and I love the girl to death, and she supports me, and I just wanted to say thank you, baby.
Wow, that's sweet. 22 years.
Yep, 22 years we've been married. We've been together for like 28. So.
Well, I want to give a shout out to my best friend and soulmate, Marion Pound, our senior executive producer for Alternative Public Radio International, and she is listening tonight in the green room. So hello, Mary. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for putting up with all of my shit. And thank you for being there with me through all of my surgeries and all of my ups and downs and all of my screaming, crying fits of PTSD, mania, and panic attacks. And just thank you for being there for me. I appreciate it. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. That's what my wife does, too. She picks me up off the floor when I'm having seizures. She takes care of me. And so she's a real trooper. She puts up with my crap. And that's what's important. You find somebody that will put up with your crap.
Yep.
And you stick with them. You stick with them because there are very few people that will put up with my crap.
Mine too.
Mine too. Especially when I'm in the screaming rages and everything else. And like the other night, I was talking to purple and blue midgets. It was a pretty wild night that night.
Wow.
But and people are, oh, you said something crazy on your blog. It's like, yeah, well, there's a reason for it. You got the gist of the information. That's good enough.
I go into severe depression where I just want to hide under the furniture.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I usually hide in my bed under the blanket.
I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I just want to exist, cease to exist, be invisible.
Yep. Exactly. I'm there too, man. And then I pull out of it, and and then I have another episode, and there it goes again. So I'm fully aware of that.
I recommend the Klonopin 100%.
I've had so many different medicines for the seizures and stuff like that. I'm allergic to most of them because I break out in hives and
anaphylactic shock.
Yeah, my anaphylactic shock. I had my whole hand was nothing but pus one day. One week because of the heart medicine they had, on the blood pressure medicine. They went ballistic and they go, "Don't stop taking this. It's killing me." I got blood and pus coming out of my hand. I went to the emergency room. They go, "This is not an emergency." I said, "I hate to see what it was then." And then I stopped taking it and I had a heart attack. And I go back and they go, "See, we told you don't stop taking it. Everything's fine." It's like, yeah, it's fine because I quit taking it.
Yeah.
I would have been dead. And then they go, "Oh, Well, now we got to put you on prednisone to get rid of the stuff that the medicine gave you. And a year and a half on prednisone, and it's, geez, it's like, no, I don't want any more medicines. You forget it. You know, don't give me anything. I'll take care of myself. If God wants me dead, he'll kill me. And he doesn't want me, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a good thing to be talking about is medications. I take several medications, and they all work. But I was experimented on for a long time and almost died several times. I'm lucky to be here. I was experimented on by these doctors and nurses, and I almost passed away several times on Mary. And we finally got it right. Let me tell you something. It is so wonderful to finally get it right. I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to finally get your meds balanced out and get it right. I feel so sorry for those of you who are going through experimental trials right now. I reach out to you, you know. Yeah.
Those are the worst. I mean, they experimented on me like a guinea pig because we can't find out why you have seizures, so we'll stick you on half of the pharmacy, and then they wanted to give me the other half, and it's like, man. And then they go, oh, well, they're not epileptic seizures, so the epileptic medicine won't help you.
Well, what the hell were they, Glenn?
They're from the problems from the car accident and the brain injury. It's like I have their seizures in name only because I convulse and I shake and I black out, but the brain activity doesn't show that it's a seizure. I
see.
It's like they call them pseudo seizures. It's called PNES. It's psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, where my body just has fits and there is nothing I can do about it except ride it out, and it can last anywhere from 5 minutes to 9 hours. So, and they all started from the heat stroke and the car accident I had 28 years ago. And they go, oh, there's nothing we can do for you. You're faking it. It's like, and then they go, and then I have an episode, and they go, well, he's not faking it, but he's faking it. And it's like, whatever. How can, I'm fast asleep, and I have an attack. Now, how can you fake something when you're fast asleep?
I don't know.
And they're like, oh, well, we don't believe you have to have them. So I had one in the tub and was unconscious for 3.5 hours in the tub. My wife called the paramedics. They come in, they take me to the hospital. They revived me on the way to the hospital. And then in the hospital, I had 5 of these things. And they go, well, you have to have another one so we can tell what's going on.
How the hell
we don't believe you.
How the hell did they get you out of the tub? I'm a paramedic, and I would have hated to run in there with you in the tub trying to grab your wet ass out of the tub.
Well, they ripped the doors off the tub, and 2 of them, one picked up my legs, and the other one picked up under my arms, and they kind of pulled me out of the tub onto the floor.
Bathroom. Oh,
yeah. And then they took me, they carried me, like, one with my legs and the other one on my arms, and they carried me out the door and put me on the stretcher. Yeah, and then when I got into the ambulance, of course, they started, IV and everything, and I started coming around and coming to, and then I had another one while I was heading to the hospital. I get to the hospital, and they go, well, we're going to take x-rays because you fell down and you hit your head and you have a concussion. And I started having a seizure, and the nurse goes, can you stop having the seizure so we can take the x-ray? And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, right. I'm just going to stop doing, what I can't stop doing so you can do your job.
That's some more of those educated idiots with no common sense.
And then they go, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with you. I said, you just said I had a concussion. Well, go home, and if you're dizzy, I said, there's 3 of you. Which one of you is telling me this? There's 3 of you. I'm dizzy. I'm almost vomiting, well, go home. And it's like, well, I ain't never coming back. And my wife had to beg them for 2 aspirin for my head. It's like, they go, no, he just wants medication. It's like, I don't want your stupid medicines. See, he just wants medication. like, no, you're not listening.
That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. That's the system I left in the South. You're talking about like the system I left in the South in Texas.
Well, I'm in the South. I'm in Richmond. And the MCD, you know.
I left a system that was like a nightmare where they think you're faking it all the time and they're always mean to you. And
well, you can't there's nothing physical that you can see on my body that will say that I was in a car accident. I mean, I went through a windshield and smashed my face, and I was almost in a halo, and I had to wear a hard collar around my neck for 8 months, and then a soft collar for 8 months, just to keep my head intact and from moving around.
You get a check? You get a check for all this?
I have a workman's comp settlement.
That's good.
The car accident, I had to settle it because they said, "Oh, the car accident caused the problems." But I had the 8 months earlier, I had the heat stroke and was starting to have seizures from that. They go, "It was a car accident, did it?" So I settled the car accident, and they go, "Well, since you had the car accident, your workman's comp isn't going to." It's like, yeah, you fucked me everywhere I go. So.
Yeah, they got my friend like that. They got my friend like that too. Same thing.
But I do live on my workman's comp settlement that I got. You know, $1,000 a month isn't much, but you know, it's something.
Oh hell yeah, it's something. Are you kidding? Yeah, it's something. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I live on
mortgage.
I live on less than that per month. I live on a little bit less than that. Yeah. But
yeah,
Mary,
you know, but it's not what I could make, and not, you know. And people go, "Oh, well, you can still work." It's like I have seizures sometimes every other day, sometimes 3-4 times a day. You know, how can I work?
Don't listen to what people say to help.
And I am working. I'm doing this. You know, I'm getting the word out there and showing people that even with a problem, you can do stuff.
I want you to do me a favor, Glenn, and I want you to start looking at some of these folks that post underneath and like my post, and start going over to their page and hitting like and maybe a couple of likes here and there, and start bringing this 25 into the foe. I want you to help me with that because I think it's vital.
Oh, definitely.
We do that.
Definitely. I've been looking for.
I wouldn't tell you to do it unless I knew these folks were good. There's a couple you'll start to see if you'll look and study. There's a couple, 3 or 4, 5 or 6 or 8 that really, really, really hit all of my posts down there under the bottom, and you can see their names and go click on them and start communicating with them a little bit here and there. And, you know, it's going to work out where I see we're going to have a band of people, your people, my people. We're going to have a band come together. And eventually, by golly, you're not in the eagle's nest, are you? Damn, Glenn.
Don't know if I am or not. I think I joined up last night. I saw something about the eagle's nest.
Wait a minute. Glenn. Already a member. Yeah, you're already a member. So you're already in my nest. The nest is where I want us all to kind of conjugate. Okay? And I'll make you an admin over at the nest. I'll make you an admin. Well, hell. What am I doing here? Who the fuck is everybody? David Johnson needs to be a member. I'll make you an admin. That way you can bring your own people into the nest.
Yeah, I have a couple people that are on your list are also on my list. So there are some. I have some people already that are from there.
Yeah, because the nest has been around for like eons, and it's kind of a cool place to be. And we can talk in there. It's better to talk kind of in a group. It's a lot of fun, you know, if you have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been members of several groups. Yeah. Through the ages. I mean, I've been on Facebook since like about, I would say 2009. Even though my profile this time doesn't say that because it's my third profile, and people need to understand that. Like, I've been kicked off twice already from that platform. once because I hit them and got them in the New York Times for the child porn and stuff that they were pushing.
Yeah.
So.
Don't get me started on child porn.
Yeah, that's a subject I don't like talking about, but I go after it.
I do like talking about it because I have my own agenda. I have my own ideas. I have my own perception about child porn. I can't find you in the eagle's nest. I have my own perception, and most people
after the show, I'll go check again and see if.
Yeah, most people don't like my opinions about men and young girls. I say if they're old enough to bleed, they're old enough to breed. And I say that men are dogs. And I say that men are men. And I say that the majority of men have a predator nature. We can talk about this on air one night. Well, we are talking about it on air one night tonight.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of what you're saying.
Have a predator nature. We hide our feelings in the United States. We hide our feelings. We suppress our feelings. We do not like to talk about the truth of what men like. As soon as these little girls start flowering up and getting their little period, men can smell that a mile away in the Walmart parking lot, and they react to it. So therefore, yes, people hate me for that. They hate me. They hate me. They hate me. They hate me for telling that truth. Now, people that fuck babies and stuff, yeah, they need to have their balls cut off. Big deal. But I'm not going to say it like, oh, these motherfuckers need to have their balls cut. No, they just need to have some strict discipline. They need to have their fingers chopped off. No big deal. No big deal. No big deal. But yeah, we need to start having more conversations about pedophilia because millions and millions and millions, listen to me, and millions of men and women are keeping the child porn sites going, okay? It must be normal. I've done my research. Have you done yours, ladies and gentlemen? It must be normal. So now we need to be having a different discussion about this, us adults. We need to be having a different discussion. We need to be saying, oh, is this normal? Well, if it is, what do we do about it? What do we do about it?
Stop some of the puritanical bullshit that we got going on and these stupid laws that are making it immoral and illegal.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we should all be running out molesting little kids. I'm just saying we should be having a different discussion about it. We should change the discussion.
Right. Change the agenda. Exactly.
Well, if it's normal, then we just need to be careful and not act upon our fantasies. We just can't act upon our fantasies. It's just not legal.
Well, a lot of people get on me because I started off, when I first was press, I started off as press, and then I went into the adult industry.
Yeah.
And I just started, started getting contracts and doing things, and, I've been published worldwide. Had the front cover in Adult Magazine for 2 years as the, photographer for the front cover and everything. And they go, oh, you're terrible, all the pornography. And that was what my ex-co-host came after me for and slandered me for, was because a little icon appeared on FedBook and the person that was kissing his ass got on him, so he came after me and started all this crap. And it's like, well, A, that's illegal, and B, it was 20 years ago, If I'm not doing it now, I did it then, and you're coming after me.
The same people that are coming after you for bullshit would suck the chrome off a trailer hitch.
Yep.
They're two-faced liars.
Correct.
Two-faced liars.
Hypocrites. Well, my ex-co-host is media. He's pure media. Let's stage events. Let's have. Well, we have one gun. Let's have 5 people walk around with the same gun in front of the camera and do it. I'm like, no, dude, you don't do that. I don't do that. I'm fresh.
Yeah.
I photograph what's happening out there at the time. If you want to do that, go ahead and do that. But it's going to be on video that you did it. And he videotapes and he cuts his feed. Like he'll say something and cut it, and then they'll get into an argument, and then the argument will happen, and then they'll film again him saying something brilliant, and he puts it, look at what I did, and it's like, yeah, well, look at the whole thing. You're a fake. You're a gatekeeper. I can't stand gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I'm going after Adam Kokesh now because he's a gatekeeper. I'm like, so are you. You don't let, did the police arrest you illegally? Yes. Did they do all this illegal stuff to you? Yes. Does that give you the right to do what you did? No. It's because the police messed up does not give you the right to mess up also. And it goes, well, don't worry about it, even though it was your memory chip. Don't worry about it. It's like they had my files on it. They accessed my files illegally without a search warrant. I'm going after them. Don't worry about it. It's like, why? Only worry about me. I was in prison for 3 days. It's like, yeah, well, they held me and my family hostage for a year and a half under house arrest for a frickin' lie. So which one's more important? Well, me being in jail.
Oh,
bullshit.
Like,
yeah, you being in jail trumps my 9-year-old son
I could
being interrogated.
stand on my head for 3 days versus a year
That's
and a half.
what I told him. I said, I was in the Army. 3 days in jail ain't nothing. My God, you go through boot camp. You couldn't pass the physical to get in boot camp. But you go to boot camp, jail's nothing.
Shit, I was in legal hold in the United States Navy. I'm an honorably discharged United States Navy, and I was in legal hold. And hell, I'd rather be in jail than to be in legal hold in the U.S. Navy.
That's why I told him. I said,
cleaning toilets with your fingers.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Like I told him, I said, dude, I could do 3 days on my head in there. Oh, you don't know, it was so tough. It's like, man, give me a break. I said, okay, then what are we going to do? Well, we're just going to go out and yell at the police. And then what? Well, we're going to go out and yell at the police. And then what? Well, then we're going to go out and yell at the police. I said, when do we hold them accountable? Well, we got to yell at them. It's like, no. When do we hold these people accountable? I was holding them accountable. I'm going after them. No, you got to yell at them. And it's like, it does no good after a while. All you're doing is stirring up the nest, sticking your finger in the bee's nest, and all you're going to do is get stung again. Well, I'm about ready to sting you again with the police. So.
You said a couple of days ago that you would help me with my mental health page.
Yes.
Well, I've got about 24 articles ready for it, and they're all really good and stuff that peer support needs to know, and counselors need to know, and psychiatrists need to know, and nonprofit managers need to know. So that's the kind of stuff I'm putting up, kind of current psychiatry articles. And also, not just pro-psychiatry, but anti-psychiatry, things that are going wrong in psychiatry, things that are going wrong in Big Pharma, things that are going wrong with the vaccination situation, and some very controversial articles are going up also. So I wanted you to know before you get involved, it's going to be both pro and con.
Cool. No, I always try to put both sides out there of everything I do. It's like, because, if you only put one side out there, you only give one part of the story, and people go, oh, and a lot of people, well, why did you put up that fake news article? It's like, so you can see the difference between what they're putting out and what is considered the truth. You don't know what, how do you know what the truth is if you don't look at the other side? I don't want to see anything negative. It's like, then you won't, how do you know what's positive? Well, you don't, because you're just getting one side, one information, one piece of the puzzle and going, oh, I know everything. You don't. You have to have the other side to see what their arguments are, because maybe they have some good arguments. Maybe they have a legit cause to be pissed off. You don't know because you didn't read it.
Yeah.
Now, if you read it and it's a bunch of shit, well, it's a bunch of shit. But if you read it and you go, they might have a point,
yeah,
it makes
right.
you think. And that's what I'm trying to do with what I've done is like make people think and get involved in the thinking process, because a lot of this stuff I'm finding out, a lot of these pros and cons, the cons have some good ideas too, just because they're against something doesn't mean that they're bad.
There's
it
good
means
information. There's
yeah.
good information in even NWO stuff. I mean, there's good information even on CNN just to know what the cons are doing. I mean, you have to be. It's still a world of duality, contrary to popular belief in the New Age. It's still a world of duality. There's the yin and the yang,
Yep.
and so
you have to have the negative to balance out the positive.
Yeah,
and the positive has to balance out the negative. So
right.
if it's all one-sided, the equilibrium goes wonky, and then you get the chaos and the crap that we got now.
And
because
it's
all
what,
been
journalists were supposed to do all along, wasn't it? Just dig out the both sides.
That's what I saw. I mean, that was the way up until 2001. I mean, and then around 2001, all of a sudden, the paradigm changed, and it's only put out there what you want people to know. And it's like, that ain't good, because then you're going to have a nation of dummies. And what do we got? A nation of dummies.
Did you see when Alex Jones took his cameras to University of Texas and interviewed all of the students there on the walkway, and not one of them could talk about Putin or the United States or Russia or anything that was going on in Syria? They did not know anything.
What is Aleppo?
Yeah. He interviewed like 75 people. And I mean, it was embarrassing, Glenn.
I get this on the streets in Richmond. You go to talk about a topic, and they go, "Oh, I'm all against it." Well, why are you against it? Against what?
Well, I don't know.
The situation that you're against. Explain it to me. Well, they said on the news I have to be against it, so I'm against it.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these folks said.
And it's like, well, they said on TV to be against it, so that's where I am. It's like, well, why are you against it? Because they said on TV to do it. It's like, okay, so, hey, Brondo, it's got what plants need, electrolytes, Come on. Idiosyncrasy was not a documentary, but it is, because it's become that. And it's sad. I mean, since the 80s, I've watched the decline being in the press. I've watched the downfall of America, and America with a K taking over America with a C, and it's ridiculous, So
well, I don't know who or what's taken over the press completely, but I do know that something has taken it over. And
I don't call them the press because
I know that the CIA, the media. I know the CIA has been working to take over the media since the early 1930s, and
they've pretty much done it. Because, like I said, there's a CIA officer in every major news organization at the top, and in the newsrooms directing the stuff, and several employees, and they spread their. And it's like, I'm at total war with media.
And I've met some of the little reporters coming out, and they're so dumb, just dumb as a box of double rocks. I mean, they do what they're told, baby, and they do what they're told. They don't even have
anything for that paycheck. Anything for the paycheck, and if it comes down from the top office, that's what I say.
That's what they say, and that's what they do, and that's what they shoot, and that's what they look for.
I mean, I deal with these people all the time. I'm in the media pit with them, and it's like I'm videotaping them not doing their job. Well, I'm videotaping them doing their job, which is not doing what they were supposed to do.
And the reporters are airheads, Glenn. They're airheads. They have to be. Well, airheads.
I call a lot of them, the females, I call them window dressers, because all they're do is put the stuff on the mannequin and look good. like Abby Martin when she did this show. I was watching a couple of years back that what was it, Break the Set or something. And my wife goes, "What porno is that? Which porno are you watching now?" I said, "The news." This is RT, the news. And she's like, "No, that's a porno." It was the beginning to a good porno. Yeah. It's
RT
like,
is getting a lot of criticism now.
Yeah. Some of it earned, some of it BS. I mean, but I deal with these people. I'm in the media pit, which was called the press pit, but then they push the press totally out, and they keep using the word press. CNN is press. No, they're media. I'm press. They're media. Mm-hmm. There is a distinction. Mm-hmm. Because the press used to be the written word, and media was the video and audio.
Yeah.
And now it's the media makes up stuff. They stage things. They sensationalize everything. And I hate to say it, but InfoWars is media. They claim they're media. That's what I'm labeling it as. But they're the only media I watch.
Well, I know Alex Jones. I know Alex Jones, and I've known him since Austin, Texas, cable access television. I'm a former cable producer, director, and he's worked very hard to get where he's at, and I like Alex a lot.
I mean, I have nothing against the man.
He's a little too sensational for me lately, and he sells
a sensationalist.
Way too much product, and
he's a sensationalist,
he cries too much. Here lately, he's losing his mind. He cries too much. I can't stand it when he breaks down and starts crying. I just can't stand it. I think it's fake. I don't know whether it's fake or not. And I love Alex. And
I liken it to WWE. I mean, you got you people you like and you people you don't. But at the top, it's all the same thing.
And he talks about the Lord, at the weirdest times. He needs to just shut up about the Lord. When he's doing a damn hardcore piece on the NWO, he needs to stop talking about the Lord.
You have about the same as I am. People, you can't support InfoWars because nobody about it. It's like, you know what? I support InfoWars. I've been in the information war since '87. I'm glad he gave it InfoWars to shorten the damn thing because the Mason throws everybody off. You go Info Nation, they don't know what Mason is. So InfoWars, hey, shorten it up for me. It's easier to write.
A lot of people are very, very jealous of Alex because he's the leading alternative news source in America now, as a few weeks ago. And
I like him as a shield. I want that shield in front of me so I can follow behind. Even if they use my articles without giving me credit for it, which they've done. And, it's, hey, great. At least the information's out there. I'm all for the information being out there, no matter how it's out there. I would like to have my byline attached sometimes, but if it's not, hey, I don't care. It's out there. Yeah. And then when people go, oh, well, it's like, no, I can prove what I wrote. It's on my blog. My blog's been up since 2005. I've been going after the city of Richmond since 2005. I've been going after all this stuff, putting out their stuff, and, well, we don't read your stuff. I said, that's the problem. You don't read it. You just read a headline or you read the little title I give it, and you respond to that, and that's as far as it gets.
Well, you bring up a good point. We are a grain of sand on a million beaches in this media war, this press war. We are a grain of sand on a million beaches. And it's hard to get yourself known. It's hard to stand out in this crowd. And you either get lucky or you run onto a story that breaks worldwide and you go viral with your name and picture on it, which does not happen very often. Or you do a lot of YouTube and people fall in love with you and you start getting 1 million hits a day. What really floors me is you've got this 2-year-old girl that flips a bottle of water over and it lands on the table a couple of times out of 5, and she gets 5 million hits in one night.
Mhm.
And you got somebody like us out there putting out really good stories, and we might get 23 hits overnight.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's weird. That's strange. I don't know what to.
I've noticed that the I don't want to call it stupid, but the stupid stuff seems to go viral immediately, and the real stuff you can't get off the starting block.
No.
I mean, as much as I try, it's like no. But I look at it this way: I put it out there, and it's out there, and then eventually somebody's going to see it. And when they see it, they're going to show their friends, and then it'll spread. And it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be until 5 years from now. But it's out there, and it's like mold. It's growing, and, I use the mold principle. As long as I get it out there and it's out there, somebody will see it. And if they need it, it's there. And that's what I've been trying to do.
It's like this show. We're on Talk Show tonight with hardly anyone here. But once I put it on the 24-hour station and it goes global, we'll start getting the hits around the world from our 26 countries. So, it's just the way it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Kiler Davenport on with Glenn Sutphin, and we have been talking about a lot of different things, news that count with people who care, issues that count with people who care, and I know that all of you do care, and this show will be up on the 24-hour station tomorrow. It is 7:46 p.m., March the 5th, 2017, on a Sunday night, and it is cold here in the Northwest. We are looking for spring really hard. I tell you, we're anticipating spring. We're going to have a good time this spring, riding some bicycles if I can still get on one, and doing some running down the river and doing some hiking if I can still manage my cane up that big, tall mountain. I tell you, I had a lot of trouble last time getting up to the very top. As a matter of fact, I didn't make it up to the top. I had to stop, and Mary went on up to the top, and I waited for her at the kind of midway up. But good show tonight. I'm feeling better. Glad to have my pills working for me. I'm glad to have my little vape cigarette from Cigarettes, Discount Cigarettes there in Eugene, Oregon. We are back and forth from Canada to the Northwest here, Washington, Oregon. We are back up and down Interstate 5. We will be traveling during the spring and summer, Interstate 5, looking at the fishing situation that's fallen off so bad here in the Northwest since Fukushima and all of the dumping that's going on in the ocean. Our towns are turning into ghost towns along Interstate 5 for any of you who have been traveling up and down near Newport, all the way down into California. These towns are turning into ghost towns. The economic situation is unbelievable. People are homeless. People are starving. The local grocery stores have started putting out food baskets, and people are just grabbing those up. There are no jobs. There's no mental health systems out in the county. There's no transportation to get the mental health patients into the city. We're working on all of these things. We sit on the boards. We're on the front lines, and we're doing what we can. And that's what I wanted to encourage all of you to do, is to work locally, especially if you have time like Glenn and I do. Sit on the local boards in your town as a consumer. They have consumer spots open. They have consumer chairs open for you on most all of these county boards. So get out there and sit on the board and stop complaining. If you're going to rant and rave and bitch on Facebook, well, don't do it unless you're sitting on the boards. So go take up those consumer positions. All you have to do is get on the phone and call your local mental health association and ask them what boards you can sit on, and they will tell you. Then when you come on Facebook, you'll feel like you've done something, and you're not just posting into the wind. Glenn and I will have this mental health page up here in the next couple of days. Proud to be putting it up. And you can find Glenn on Facebook at Glenn M. Sutphin, Sutphin. And, of course, you know where to find me, Mr. Kiler Davenport. Just Google Kiler Davenport. And for any of you who haven't, you probably should. You can see that we've been working our ass off for the last 7 years, and Google pretty much proves that. So, Glenn, thank you for being on tonight with me. I really do appreciate it, brother.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, look forward to it again. The minute you pop in on me and say, I'm ready to go, well, I'll just bring you on in, okay?
All right. Well, we'll talk offline about that.
Yep. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you all soon. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will come to pass. Bye-bye. Bye, Glenn.
Bye.